friends, welcome here. If you're new here, my name's Rebecca. If you're not new here, thanks for coming back and watching another video. So we are on week 4 of our shelter-in-place mandate here in the state of California. And I gotta say, for like the first couple weeks, I was kind of a mess. I couldn't really motivate to do anything. I was like obsessively just reading the news and half freaking out about what was going on and half just wanting to like lay down and take a nap. It probably wasn't until like last week where I was like, okay, this is reality. I'm gonna start to like pick myself up and put the pieces back together and like try and be a functioning human in this new reality. So in order to do that, I felt like I had to give myself some structure of self-care that would help me kind of, you know, like clean up the pieces and like put Humpty Dumpty back into a person that resembled Rebecca. So for this video, I thought I'd share some of the self-care things that I've been doing that are specific to having to shelter in place and what we're all going through collectively at this time, in hopes that maybe it might help one of you. Let's get started. So the first thing I've been doing is setting an alarm and getting up at the same time every single day. So I've been setting an alarm for 6 a.m. even though there's nowhere I need to be, nothing I need to do. It just helps give me a little bit of structure, because for the first couple weeks I was sort of like, what time is it? It doesn't matter. Like, what day is it even? Like, who cares? Nothing matters. So to help motivate myself to have a more productive day, it helps me to get up at the same time every single day. So the second thing I've been doing is to set some boundaries for myself around the consumption of media and news. One of the things that I was finding is I was falling into this trap of just like constantly scrolling on my phone for like the latest, like when is this gonna be over? Like how many people have died? Like I just wanted to like know the updates all the time, and it just was like this really unhealthy cycle. So I've given myself some parameters that there are 2 things that I will do every morning. So there's 2 newsletters that I get. There's a briefing from the New York Times and there's a newsletter called The Skim. So those both arrive in my inbox early in the morning, and I allow myself the space to read and consume the news from those 2 sources, and that's it. It's like 10 minutes a day. I stay informed with what is happening in the world, but I'm not getting sort of sucked in and overly consumed with news and media. So the third thing that I've been doing is I've been FaceTiming a lot more than I ever have, and I've been doing some Zoom meetings with friends. So I am not at all a phone person. Like, I don't really like to talk on the phone. I would much rather text. Like, I don't like to talk on the phone that much. But FaceTiming is something completely different. It's really, really helped me feel connected to other people in the world besides just like my dog and my husband, and to feel a little bit less alone. Like, you're not with people, like you can't touch them and hug them, which is like so sad to me because I love giving and receiving hugs, but you at least get to see their face and their facial expression and have a more intimate conversation with someone than just texting or even just like voice on voice contact on the phone. So as much as possible, I try and, you know, at least FaceTime a couple people a week so that I can see their lovely faces. So if it's not something that you're currently doing, I'd recommend just trying it out just to see if you can connect with someone that you love. So the next thing is like sort of a cliche like self-care thing to do, but it's made a huge difference for me, and that's just moving every single day. And this is something that I've always had as part of my life, but I've been a little bit more regimented about it, and having the routine of doing things at a certain time of day has really helped me in terms of my overall mood. So when I wake up at 6 a.m., the first thing I will do is do some sort of yoga class. So typically I would just like get on my mat and like flow by myself and like do my own thing. But I've been taking like actual classes. Like, a lot of my yoga teacher friends have been posting virtual classes. There's a bunch of YouTube channels that I've been watching with yoga. So just to feel like a little bit more connected to people, I found that like doing an actual online class and doing it live, like if it's on like Facebook Live or Zoom, like it's really helped me to have like some structure to my day, and also to feel like I'm connected to some of the people around me. And just the movement in general, you know, that releases endorphins and like real positive feelings. It helps me start my day in a better place. And the second thing I've been doing is taking a really long walk with my husband and my dog in the afternoon. So around the same time every day, we'll take the dog out to some of the desert washes behind the house, just let her run around and roam around and chase all the bunnies, and we get a good long walk in as well. And the structure of like starting and ending the day with movement has kind of helped build those endorphins and some of those positive feelings, as well as putting some structure in my day. So the next self-care practice that I've introduced lately is what I call a present moment gratitude practice. So I found that a lot of my sort of sadness and anxiety was really stemming from worrying about the future, right? Like, what's gonna happen? Are we gonna get sick? Like, the economy is really unstable. Like, when is this all gonna end? All these future thoughts is what was really causing anxiety. So after my yoga practice in the morning, I will spend a couple of minutes either journaling or just like a visualization practice of what are things now that I can be grateful for, right? In this very moment, this morning, right now, today, what can I be grateful for? You know, the fact that we have our health and we still have a roof over our head, and, you know, all these things that have nothing to do with the future or the past, but are happening right now can ground you in a positive feeling for this day that you're experiencing right now. The next one is really simple, and it's just to spend time outdoors every day. I think if there's one positive thing that is emerging from all of this is that I think a lot of people are finding the value in being outside and discovering or rediscovering their love for the outdoors. I have a friend who is telling me about the fact that there's all these hiking trails right behind her house that she didn't even know about, and she's been taking her kids out there every day. And even if it's just for 2 or 3 minutes, just to let the sun shine on your face or breathe in some fresh air, or just get outside of your house or apartment or van or whatever it is that you live in and just be invigorated by the outdoors. So my next self-care practice is not really something I'm doing, it's something I'm trying not to do. And that's to compare my response and my experience to anybody else and what they're doing during this time. So I think in the first couple weeks of this, a lot of people emerged being like, this is such an amazing opportunity. And they were like reading lots of books and getting in the best shape of their life and cooking lots of food and learning how to bake bread and like doing all these things. And I think that is some people's response, is to like, you know, introduce a lot of activity. But there's also the response of not being able to do anything, feeling paralyzed by fear or anxiety or depression or whatever it is. And all of that, all of those different responses are all valid responses. So I'm trying not to look at how anybody else is spending their time and just spending my time in a way that feels therapeutic to me, right? It doesn't matter if I don't learn anything new. It doesn't matter if I don't come out of this in the best shape of my life. I'm doing the things that I need to do and not comparing that to what anybody else does. And that sort of leads into my next one, which is limiting time on social media. So I do view that as a self-care thing to do, is to scroll as little as possible. Because at least for me, it can really suck you into other people's experience. And while I think it's an enormously helpful tool to keep us all connected, and I'm so thankful that we have it and it's part of our life going through all of this, I do think that there's another side to it that can be unhealthy if there's too much of an obsession with it, right? So I try and limit myself to an hour a day on social media, and there is a setting on your phone. If you have an iPhone, you can select that you want to limit your amount of time on a certain app. So I've limited all social media apps to 1 hour per day. And I think that really gives me some healthy boundaries around not getting sucked into that comparison or not getting sucked into the mindless scrolling through social media apps. So a lot of what I've talked about up until this point is about giving myself some really rigid kind of structure and boundaries that helps me have the most like positive and productive day that I can. But I think the next one is also really important, and that's just taking time to be quiet and to listen. I think our intuition is really powerful in knowing what it is that we need, and taking the time and space to listen to that is really important. So I have a seated meditation practice. That's my time to kind of tap in and sit and be thoughtful and listen to what it is that my emotional self needs and my physical self needs. It's nice to set aside just 5 minutes a day to think about, what do I need today? Is today a day where I need to be uber productive? Do I need to give myself a lot of activities, a lot of things to do? Or is today a day where I need to just sit back? Is a day where I need to allow myself to have a day where I nap a whole bunch or eat lots of snacks or whatever it is that you feel like you need to feel good in that day, to be respectful of what it is that you need and not forcing yourself into something because it's part of your routine or because you saw somebody else doing it. So finding time in every single day to just sit with yourself and listen to your own intuition, which is one of your most powerful tools that you have. And the last self-care practice on the list is arguably my most important one, and that's making time for alone time. And this is a practice that I developed during the time when my husband and I lived in a van together. When you're in any space for a prolonged amount of time with somebody else, be it your partner or spouse or roommate or family or children or whoever it is, it can be overwhelming and it can feel a little bit stifling. So taking time, even if it's just 5 minutes, or maybe you're lucky enough to be able to schedule an hour of alone time, can feel really rejuvenated just to have a little time in your own space, or having time when no one's talking to you or no one's like pulling on your leg like mom, 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 mom. And I know that everyone's reality is a little bit different and it might be more difficult for some to have this time than others, but it could be as simple as there's 5 minutes a day where like, just don't talk to me for 5 minutes. And you can communicate this in a loving way. It doesn't have to be in the way of like, I don't want to talk to you right now. You know, there's plenty of times where I just say to my husband, I'm having alone time right now. And we have an understanding around that's a need of mine and that's also a need of his, and we're fine with it. No one takes offense to it. And if you have kids or people who need to be entertained, you can give them something that will entertain them for 5 minutes, and take that 5 minutes, take a couple deep breaths and be by yourself. So that's it for today's video. These are just, again, some of my self-care practices that I have found helpful for me during these times, and that might be helpful for you as well. So I just wanted to share. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, please subscribe. It helps my channel a lot. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends. I was kind of a mess. I don't know. If you know what I mean. Let's start over. Yeah. Let's fix our dreads. I should say that again. Think of better examples than that. Even as so we know.